welcome to round 2 of the Penrite ProMX Championship presented by AMX Superstores. We're here at Canberra, the nation's capital, at this tight and technical track just outside the city centre. I'm Rihanna Crean, thanks for joining us. And as always, alongside me, the 11 times Australian motocross champion, Lee Hogan. Lee, last time, the first round of the season at Wonthaggi, rain, hail, wind, we had it all. What was your takeout?
Well, aside from the weather, from a telecast and a racing point of view, it was a fairy tale start. My top 3, I've got to say, I had such a fantastic time there. I've got to say my favourite moment of the day was Regan Duffy's Moto 2. It was exceptional. I think that's going to go down in history as one of the all-time greats. My second favourite, I'm going to say Kyle Webster and how he dominated MX2, winning both motos very easily, I must say. And also, I'm going to say my top 3, a young gun, just a 13-year-old kid by the name of Caden Minnie, and what he did, performed exceptionally well in the MX3 class. So they were my highlights, I'm going to say.
We've been greeted by beautiful conditions here at Canberra, but very different track conditions. What can we expect?
Well, polar opposite, isn't it, really? We've got nice, sunny, postcard conditions here, but the track is also polar opposite to what we had at the first round. It's hard pack, but they've done so much preparation with the track, with ripping and watering. The lines that are forming here are exceptional, and they've got so many ruts to choose from. So to find an athlete that goes good at round 1 and round 2, you've got to be well-rounded. So looking forward to seeing how this picture plays out.
But how's the track going to evolve as the day goes on?
I think that as the day goes on here, one thing I can promise you, I've been racing here since 1990 and I know this dirt exceptionally well. Yes, I'm that old. I'm going to say that this dirt has a very small window of nice, beautiful moisture. It goes from muddy to nice and tacky to dry and dusty very quickly. So these guys have to keep doing the exceptional job they've been doing so far and try to keep this chalky cake dirt going on.
You make it sound very tasty. Our very own Danny Ham took us for the Michelin track preview yesterday. Check it out.
One thing we'll notice about the track this weekend is just how soft it is to begin the day. Now, that's not just limited to being out on the track, that's right here on the start line. And this surface at the moment really isn't compacted down at all. So the ruts that get developed from everyone doing these starts is going to make it very difficult to get out over the gate and get yourself a good start. Right here you can see just how quickly these ruts have developed. We've got line on here, and this is what we're going to see all day long. New lines developed by 40 riders getting around the track at the same time. There's going to be plenty of options to pass out there. Canberra is known to be a relatively tight track, and Michelin Corner right here is no exception. These switchback corners open up a lot of different lines and passing opportunities. You'll see the riders go from inside to outside, outside to inside, crossing over each other all the time. Right here, we're going to see a lot of passes. One area you can make up a lot of time on this track are these jumps right here. 27 metres from takeoff all the way down to the down ramp. If you spend too much time up in the air, the guy that comes in behind you with more momentum, scrubs the jump and stays lower, will surely make the pass.
The Canberra round is really going to throw a lot of challenges at these riders this weekend, and that there is your Michelin track preview.
Motocross in Australia is steeped in history, and we are so lucky to have some of the legends of the sport still involved. A man that needs no introduction in this paddock, 3 times Mr. Motocross, 3 times Australian champion, Anthony Gunter. Just tell me about the era of the 70s and 80s, the heyday when you guys were racing.
Basically, it was more a hobby, and then it became a profession. I think myself and Stephen Gore came professional about 78, where we could make enough money to survive on racing. And you know, the bikes are a lot different than they are today. You know, we used to travel with a trailer on the back of a car, and there was no big trucks and things like that. But you know, there was some very good racing, good strong racing, and some really good tracks.
You talk about you and Steve travelling together, but your rivalry is what people say created this sport. I mean, what was that like? Yeah,
we're best mates off the track. You know, on the track it's a different story. The gloves are off, so it was like, you know, we've probably had a couple of clashes here and there, I'd say. And you he's always been a good mate and always been a good competitor.
You've got a bike here this weekend that is incredibly special to not only yourself but anyone in motocross. Tell me about the bike.
Okay, so this is a Kawasaki Sr500. People think it's a KX, but it's not. It's an SR, which is a full factory 500 motocross bike.
And not only that bike being so special, but that championship 1981 that you won, and Peter Doyle, our Motorcycling Australia CEO, was working on. He was on the spanners.
He was our mechanic. Yeah, he was one of our mechanics, and it's ironic. It's 40 years ago this year that I won the Australian Motocross Championship on that in Tasmania at Simmons Plains. And to be honest, the weather was something like what Thaggy was.
So very unpleasant.
Very wet, very cold, and very wet.
And just talk to me about the era of motocross now. You know, we're back racing. We're back as a really strong national championship. You know, what are your sort of thoughts on how it is today?
It's good to see the racing back after being away all last year, and it's good to see like the amount of people here and the amount of riders. It's getting supported. We've got full grids. And it's I think it's going to be a really good year. It's a new series basically with new promoters and a new whole new year really.
So we're currently sitting in the KTM garage. Regan Duffy, obviously one of the young guys that's going to be probably a star of the future. How do you compare the riders today to you guys back in the 70s and 80s?
I think the riders are probably more fit, and like the guys that are professionals like Regan have to train a lot, and they put a lot of time and effort into training. Back in our day, it was more like we went to work. We'd drive to Queensland, race on the Sunday, drive back Sunday night and go to work Monday morning. The riders these days have put a lot more effort in, I think, than what we did. A lot more into training, and the other side of it is that the bikes are so much more advanced than what we ever had.
Let's have a look at the lineup for the Thor MX1 Moto 1 category. Luke Clout, Todd Waters, names don't get bigger than this in Australia. Kirk Gibbs, Regan Duffy, the young gun, Aaron Tanti, Hayden Melross, Brett Metcalf, Matt Moss there, and then of course we've got Max Purvis and Jai Walker.
Now Matt Moss, when we saw him out in the shootout before the pole shootout, we were looking at his times and we were a little concerned. 1:39 was his time, but he set a 1:33 on the very last lap. So whatever issues he had during that shootout, resolved them, back in track now. Who will jump out first? It's only a matter of time before we get this one going. You can see the number 9 there, Tanti. We spoke to him earlier. He is getting ready for this one. As the board is now sideways, we are getting set for the start of this one. The gates go down. Who will launch out for Moto number 1 at Canberra?
Oh, great jump through the middle. It looked like one of the CDR Yamaha riders had drifted a little bit wide there. I believe that could be Clout. Clout is on a mission, ladies and gentlemen. The number 4 CDR Monster Energy Yamaha is at the head of the pack, and he's got Brett Metcalf in second, Todd Waters in third. A lot of the big hitters right up there. There was another one. That looks to be Regan Duffy with a much better start than what I've seen over the last couple of races at Wonthaggi from him, but he needs to have some track speed.
Pass for the lead already. Metcalf now straight into first place.
Wow.
So either a small mistake or Metcalf wants to get out and get this one done. I was speaking with his mechanics
and Todd Waters has already dropped back to 5th or 6th place.
Yeah, I was speaking with Metcalf's mechanic yesterday and said, look, he is looking so much better and more comfortable going into this race. Look at that, side by side. Clout now right on the side of Metcalf. Will he push it back up the inside? Metcalf wants to make it back. Wow, a power move right there by Clout. He got past that lap and wanted to get straight back into the lead.
He would not have liked that at all. Now what we saw there was Brett Metcalf could have potentially made a pass up the inside, but you do not want to go down on lap 1 as we see Gibbsy make a pass up the inside there. Todd Waters continues to get shuffled back a little bit.
Hey, one person I want to give a shout out to, Dylan Wood right there on the 62, full privateer, drove down Friday night. He didn't get here till nearly midnight, got himself up there to a great start. If he can just tag onto the back wheel of these guys, learn some speed, see what they're doing, he could be up for a great result.
Right, we've just been given the word. The whole shot award brought to you by 100% goes to Luke Clout, and it was it looked like an easy half to a full bike length there. You could clearly see in the exit of that turn. So a great whole shot. swiftly passed by Brett Metcalf and then returns the favour. So Luke Clout finds himself back in the lead again.
Jaden Riker's on the number 3 machine there as we see the good battle here. 3rd and 4th, Gibbsy and Waters. 2 of the veterans of the sport as Waters right on the edge of the track is still trying to make that pass, but Gibbsy looks good at the moment, doesn't he? He's really putting in at this part of the race.
Well, that was an interesting line there. He goes exceptionally wide to try to miss some of the bumps, but I tell you, Todd Waters made up quite a little bit of time. If he does that the following lap and Todd Waters is a little bit closer, you're going to need to protect himself, that's for sure.
Oh, look at this battle here between Hayden Melross and Duffy. That was so tight going over them jumps. Oh, nice line there by Duffy, just looking for something a little bit different.
Very creative line. That's either, I don't know whether we call it a New Zealand line or a Western Australian line. Oh, side to side from Regan Duffy there. He's trying everything he can. These guys are having a sensational little battle going on, but while this is happening, the leaders are starting to stretch their lead out.
Yeah, let's talk about 3rd, 4th and 5th right now. I just caught a glimpse of it. Gibbsy is really putting that pressure on and he's close right onto the back wheel
of his teammates.
Yeah, and Waters makes a mistake right there. Our heavy hitters are all up front. This is the battle right here. And we've got Duffy as well jumping into it. Metcalf, another mistake. This is where it's at the moment.
Okay, so Kirk Gibbs has caught fire at the moment, and I haven't seen this kind of form from him in a heck of a long time, I tell you. I thought Brett Metcalf was going to be the one. It just looks like Gibbsy is just cruising around at the moment, and when he's in this kind of form, that's dangerous for everyone. Oh.
Tanti has also jumped in the mix back there with Melross. This is a great battle right now. We need to just continue on this one. Another mistake there by Metcalf. I think that's the problem at the moment. Metcalf is just making these tiny little mistakes that allowed everyone to close back into him. But in saying that, if we look at the front, Cloud hasn't cleared out that much. These guys behind them are actually running at a very fast pace, and the fastest out there, that last lap around, was Cloud, but also Hayden Melross with a 37. As these Honda riders still battling it out, trying to find so many lines.
Gibbsy once again back into 2nd place, and Brett Metcalf, these guys are so close. You could throw a very small blanket over them. And like you said, that has allowed Todd Waters to latch right onto the back here. Hayden Melross, good pace. He's sticking with these guys. We've got a yellow flag and a red cross flag out. Who has gone down? Someone's gone down, and in a big way.
Cloud is through there, which is great. But this battle, oh man, it's tightening up right now.
4 riders, have a look at this. You know who's on fire? Hayden Melross. He has just stretched out from Regan Duffy, and he is all over the back of these guys. He wants to get into 2nd place and try to reel in his teammate.
This is good. Waters now moves up into 3rd place. And Metcalf is about to fall into the grasp of Melross as well. Melross is looking good. When was the last time we saw an MX1 race like this?
This is a dream come true. These 4 riders here, if we just pull Luke Clout back to the group again, we'd have some kind of...
Mossy. It's Mossy that's gone down.
Oh, it's the 102.
And there's a limp there. That's a sore leg, hip something. That's no good for him. Hopefully we might hear a little bit more info on him very soon. But yeah, this battle up front, Waters has found fire as well. Waters around the outside, he's got the line up the inside. What a move at the moment. Can Gibbs retaliate and get back around there?
Well, you know what, Danny Ham? Brett Metcalf just needs to take a deep breath at the moment, and he needs to try to regain his composure, whether he's got a little bit of arm pump or he needs to change up his lines. Something needs to happen, or he's going to lose track of the back of these guys, and he's going to feel the pressure of Regan Duffy, who is all over the back of Brett Metcalf as we speak.
There's no doubt those first couple of laps were tough for Metcalf. Wow, around the outside. That was brave there by Melross. Dives back up the inside. There is Melross. Have a look behind them. Oh, the 2 riders!
Almost come together.
So close to hitting each other. Melross and Gibbs, evasive maneuvers right there. There is Max Purvis just going through screen as well. This battle is sensational at the moment. Waters scraping the handlebars through that rut. There is Metcalf, and you are 100% right. Metcalf needs to take a deep breath and regroup so he can stay up there, and it looked like Melross may have made the pass. No, still just there behind Waters.
And that's what Melrose needs to do. He needs to keep the pressure on the back of Todd Waters, because if you let Todd Waters get into too much of a rhythm, he'll be able to pick up pace. A little bit of a mistake there exiting that corner from Todd Waters. It's allowed Melrose to stick right with him. This is a sensational battle that we're seeing. Regan Duffy, he is all over the back of Gibbsy, and he wants to play a part. He wants to get amongst this battle.
You know what? I think the two Honda riders at the moment moving back is possibly a result of them both battling each other so hard. They have just tightened each other up,
yeah,
I think.
they did. They both pumped up a little bit, I feel.
But it's definitely not the smooth riding styles that we're so used to seeing out of these couple of riders. There's plenty of time left to go in this Moto number 1, 16 minutes on the board before we even think about seeing a checkered flag. There is Regan Duffy, now gets into the 4th position in front of Kurt Gibbs. Now these Honda riders are smart. They've been around a long time. They just need to regroup, as we've said, and they can play a part at the end of this one. But it is still Waters and Melrose battling it out. What a ride here for CDR Yamaha. Oh, Melrose, nice line up the inside.
Oh, beautiful setup.
Wow.
That was so close to a passing move. I can't remember the last time that I've seen Melrose ride like this. I mean, unfortunately for him, it just happens to be his teammate that's the shining light in this one that's just checked out and gone. But if you forget about Luke Clout, what an amazing ride from Hayden Melrose here.
Did you see the Honda riders in the background? They have not given up on each other right now, but Metcalf has got himself back in front of Gibbs.
Yeah, he has. So, look, we're talking about the little bit of arm pump or losing your rhythm and having to regain your composure. What's such an important thing to do is when someone like a Todd Waters or a Melrose or even a Luke Clout, when they come past you, is to try to latch onto the back and pick up on some of their lines. Try to see what they're doing. Quite often, on a track like this, when you can see there's 8 or 9 lines across the track, you only need to have 1, 2 or 3 lines that are not too good around the track, and all of a sudden you'll find yourself dropping 1 or 2 seconds a lap and pumping up at the same time. So if you lose sight of the back of the rider in front of you and you can't see what they're doing, it makes life so hard. As they come past, you've got to throw a hook on. You've got to latch onto these riders, and you've got to try to figure out what they're doing a little bit different that's allowing them to do it A, faster, or B, a little bit easier with a bit more energy. As things sit at the moment, what we predicted, the Luke Clout show here at Canberra, he's dropped a whole moto, he's angry, he's got some points that need to be made up, and his time is now.
Well, there's Rikers on the number 3 machine. The Kawasaki rider, he sits back there in 9th place, just behind Aaron Tanti on the Gas machine. Just in front of him there is our lead rider, Luke Clout, on the number 4, as he makes his way past one of our lapped riders.
Coming through the Michelin right-hand corner there, doing a sensational job, looking very colourful. And he doesn't even look like he's trying, does he? The bike's set up exceptionally well. I like that tabletop there, how the gun riders, they've got a line off the far left-hand side of the track where they're basically taking off almost halfway up the takeoff ramp. So they're only going, oh God, you know, 2 or 3 metres lower than what the other people are that are jumping up the full normal takeoff ramp. So it's, we won't call it it's certainly not a cheater line, it's a smart line.
And smart is what you need to do around this track. There are so many lines that if you do fall into that rhythm where you're just out there riding your own race and not even trying to find these new lines, these better lines, it's going to beat you up, really. You've got to continually, every single lap, look for these new lines, especially right now with the way Luke Clout is riding through all of these lapped riders. You know, you're fighting lines that you didn't even know existed because he has to get around these lapped riders. Big moment right there, just trying to get past. Does he have his tear-offs ripped off? I just thought I saw something shaking off his goggles right there, almost like he ripped all his tear-offs off, but I don't think so. Just an image I saw that was incorrect by the looks of it.
Now, just as we look nice and closely at this track, we can see it's starting to deteriorate. Not so much in this part where we are right here. It looks beautiful right here. But only 20, 30 seconds ago, we're seeing the kind of conditions that I expect to see from this Canberra track and that we'll see as the day progresses. It looks so beautiful when you got to get out there and ride and do the track lap here on your bike, Hammy. However, that doesn't last very long here. This track starts to get beat down. It gets rocky. It gets so many different lines. The roost, as you mentioned, hurts so much. But when you throw in the mix all these ruts around the place, what a technical track to try to negotiate your way around.
We need to point out that Todd Waters now is having a very lonely race because we have lost Hayden Melross off the back of him. I'm not sure what's happened there, but he has now fallen back into 4th place at the moment. You can see it on the scoreboard on the left there, the Thor leaderboard. Melross back in 4th, and Duffy has moved himself up into 3rd place. So at some stage through that crazy battle that we had earlier on in this one, a mistake has probably been made by Melross. He has dropped back a little bit. Let's hope we can find his form again and see him push back up there.
Well, that was great what we were seeing from him, but let's just quickly point out as we reach very close to, we've got just under 10 minutes, and at 9 minutes to go in the race. We've got a 10-second gap between Luke Clout and Todd Waters, and we're close to a second or half a second faster was Todd Waters in that last lap. Now, if he can keep that up for a lap or two, start to get that down towards, you know, 8, maybe 7-second gap, that can just put a little bit of pressure, even if it's just something as simple as a pit board that comes out for Luke Clout that says, you know, keep that pace up. Todd Waters is now, you know, minus 7 seconds, etc. That can be enough to keep a little bit of pressure on Clout.
Okay, so there is Melross on screen, and I feel just by the visuals in front of me that he is starting to catch back in on Duffy. He's not that too far behind him. Last lap around, Melross pulled a 1:38.8, and Duffy did a 1:39.4. Now, there is plenty of lappers playing into this, so it may have just been the situation at the time that Duffy didn't quite get a nice clean lap. We'll see it as they go over the finish line this time. But if it presents itself the same as we've got right now, 5 minutes to go, there is still a chance that Melross could push himself up there and get himself onto the podium for this race.
Well, just watching the body positioning, the whole posture and the intensity from Hayden Melross. Oh, a little step out sideways there from Regan Duffy. It's still looking to me that Melross is well and truly charging and still has plenty of energy. At this point in the race, it doesn't matter if you're doing 25 or if you're doing a 30 minutes plus 2 laps, the old traditional length of the race. At the 20-minute mark, everyone's feeling it a little bit. I don't care how fit you are. Because if you're not feeling it at the 20-minute mark, then you're not pushing hard enough, right? And your team manager's going to give you a clip over the ear when you come back in. So from what I'm seeing from Hayden Melross, he's still pushing hard and he's still feeling good. And with 4 minutes 33 to go on the clock plus a lap, you can sprint from here.
Well, that last lap proves your point exactly. Both the riders, Regan Duffy and Melross, 1:38.1. There's only 1/100th of a second that separated the two. They matched the lead riders. In fact, the quickest on track last lap around was Melross. Even faster than the leader at the moment. So there is still a little bit of time in this one. We haven't written this story just yet. We may see a bit of a charge here, but Duffy certainly has answered the call at the moment. Whether he can get there before this one's out, that's another story.
And we certainly have seen a little bit of settling going on, shall we say, with those top 3. So an 11-second now lead between Clout and Waters back to 2nd place. And we see 1:38s from 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So these guys know what's going on. They're not only do they have their pit board telling them how close the next rider is, but they have a sneaky little look over their shoulder every now and then. They won't have their head on a swivel, but they will have a little bit of a look.
Okay, I just saw something then while you're talking, Lee, and I've just been confirmed on it on the times. Last shot we saw, Todd Waters right there at the bottom of your screen, Duffy now,
He's on a charge.
He is on a charge. He just looked over and saw where Waters was last lap around. Duffy was almost a full second faster than Waters. Waters had that gap, but I tell you, he cannot relax right now. Not with Duffy, the way he's charging on. 3 minutes left to go. So essentially there is 3, maybe 4 laps.
I'm going to say 4.
4 laps in this one, yep.
Yeah, because plus a lap. 3 maybe 4, depending on when the leader comes around.
A 4-second separation. Wow, at this pace, it would be down to the last lap. It's a long shot, but Duffy does have the chance.
He does, and look, it's going to depend on that the energy levels, I guess, coming into these latter stages of the race. You don't know who's feeling it. If you could get inside the riders' helmets, we can see, watching closely at the moment to Todd Waters, his lines don't seem to be beautifully coming together, shall we say. And when we had a quick look before from Regan Duffy, he looked like he was just on rails. However, when you're letting it all hang out like that, sometimes you can make a little bit of a mistake. But you're prepared to do that in these closing stages of a race, just to give it a shot and see if you have a chance.
This is a part of the race so that you can make up a lot of time. If you're fit enough, you can push it all the way to the end, then there's a good chance that you can make these passes stick. As we go over the finish line again, let's check the times that time around. Again, Duffy with a 37.9, fastest on track, even faster than Clout, but there's only 2/10 difference that time between Waters and Duffy. So it's not appearing that Waters is just going to roll over and let them catch up on this one. I think he's going to fight this one out. And you know what, that's something with Waters. He's a smart rider. He can manage those positions, the leads that he does have. But they have got a lot to do if they want to run up there with this guy, the number 4 machine, as he dives in and out of the shadows on the CDR Yamaha, the bike 4 of Luke Clout. In a class of his own at the moment, he's got himself a huge lead, and I strongly doubt that anyone is going to see which way he went before this one's done.
And such a well-controlled 10-second lead that he's just monitored. He just kept his eye on it. While he's making his way through the lap traffic, he's been able to control that lead and keep it right where he wants it to be. And Todd Waters is, he's got a 4-second lead over Regan now. So not quite what he was hoping for it to be. He would have liked to have tried to reel in Luke Clout and just to put that question mark into his head going into that final race.
Motocross is a mental sport, and if you can go out there and either dominate or put the pressure on in the background, it's Waters just working his way through a few lappers. And let's say that, we've got some lappers starting to come into this over these last couple of laps. Will they play a part in the second and third battle that's going on?
And we mentioned a little bit earlier on, I don't want to touch on it too much because, I mean, CDR, Monster Energy, Yamaha, they're such a credible team. They very rarely have DNFs, but I still want to touch on it. Do you think it's possibly even entering Clout's mind the fact that the last time he was on this baby of his bike, that she couldn't finish the race? He's not involved in a battle at the moment. He's cruising around at a nice, comfortable pace for himself. And we mentioned in the previous race how easy it is for certain things to creep up into your brain in the latter stages of the race. Do you reckon it's even half coming into his head? Let's just get this thing to the line and we can forget about it.
I think so. I think there's no way you couldn't at least think that it's a possibility of it. It was this part of the race that it happened at last time. However, if you have the big companies like KYB coming back to you and saying, yep, that is the issue and we've resolved it, then is that there's got to be some assurance there that you're going to make it to he but no doubt, you can't just switch that off.
And not think about it at all.
Yeah, especially when you're in the lead like this. But if he just keeps going the way it is and he does win this one out, the confidence is going to be there going into the next race.
Yeah, well, we've got the 2 laps to go, so our timing clock has made its way down, that's for sure. So 2 laps to go, and Luke Clout is both feet off the pegs there. And no problem whatsoever for Luke Clout, though. Continues to hold down that lead at 11.9, so basically let's call that 12 seconds. And then back to Regan Duffy is in 3rd place, who continues his march towards the front. He's taken nearly another full second off Todd Waters in that last lap. So as we approach the final lap board, Hammy.
Yeah, it's tight. It's
getting
very
closer.
Tight. 39.7 last lap around for Waters, 39.4 for Duffy, 39.2 for both Melross and Gibbs. Gibbs found some speed at the end of this one as well, but all too late, I feel.
and really would like to find out what's happened with Brett Metcalf. He's 46 seconds off the race leader, and that's just not Medi. That's not normal for Medi. Something's happened. It would be absolutely fantastic. I know it's almost going to be impossible to do, but it'd be great for Rihanna to be able to grab a quick chat with Medi to find out what the heck happened there from the start of the race that we saw, actually past Luke Cloud and had the lead.
I know. So, crazy. You don't expect to see that, especially out of Metcalf. As we see Luke Cloud just cruising around at the moment. He's done nothing wrong in this one, that's for sure. He's had almost a flawless race. He was challenged early on. He did make the retaliation pass back, as we see Waters on screen at the moment, and Duffy is in striking distance, but I tell you, it's going to take a lot over this last quarter of a lap for him to be able to make that pass.
It's going to take a mistake from Todd Waters.
It is. As we see Luke Cloud moving his way towards this final
Has
turn.
a little look over his left shoulder. He knows what's about to happen.
As they move towards the finish line, and a perfect start and retaliation for the moto loss.
Redemption.
At the round number 1. This is going to sit very well with Luke Cloud. Waters comes across in second.
And how close was that? Couple of bike lengths in it, and Duffy is not happy. And I tell you what, I love to see that. I love to see him not happy. He's 18 years old on a 450, and he's not happy with reeling in the current champion and finishing right behind him. That's the kind of hunger that we want to see. Let's take a quick look at the results here for Moto 1 of the MX1, brought to you by Thor. Luke Cloud with a sensational win from Todd Waters, Regan Duffy, back to Hayden Melross, Kirk Gibbs rounding out the top 5. Then we saw Brett Metcalf, Jaden Rikers, Aaron Tanti, Jai Walker, the privateer on the Honda. Great job from him. Back to Jay Lamb, also another privateer rounding out the top 10.
Great to see the privateers up there, isn't it? Having a good blow at this championship as well. As we head down to our race winner with Rihanna.
Yeah, congratulations. Big celebrations for our Thor MX1 Moto 1 winner, Luke Clout. Huge relief after a really difficult one, Thaggy.
Yeah, basically the first round was my only throwaway. So from here on out, I need to start winning races, and a lot of them to get back. So, you know, we were fastest in qualifying today, and now fastest, well, first in the first race. So starting it off really well, and you know, just looking forward to the next two motos.
Incredibly intense race, particularly you front guys. You were just saying how tough it was for the duration of that MX1.
Yeah, look, I put a little bit of a sprint on at the start and got myself a bit of a gap, and kind of rode comfortable at that point. And then, yeah, my mechanic put on the pit board saying halfway, and it felt like we'd already done 1,000,000 laps. So yeah, that last 15 minutes was pretty long, but I had some really good lines. I started adjusting some lines and, you know, finding some new ones, and I think that really helped me. I calmed it down a little bit and, you know, backed it down to probably 80% and, you know, just brought it home. So the next two races are obviously going to be a little bit different to that. It's going to be intense, so I'm looking forward to it. Enjoy
this moment. We wish you all the best for this afternoon. Congratulations, Luke Clout.
Thank you.
With so many different components on the bike, it's really important that you get everything dialed in on the race day to make sure that you get the best performance out of them. One of the biggest things here is the tyres. Now, I'm going to quickly show you through these. These are Max's set of tyres that Todd Waters uses on his race bikes. There's two very distinct differences between these. We use these at One Thaggy. They're very wide apart. It's like a scoop, a big paddle tyre. Grabs the sand and doesn't go right into it, throws a whole heap of dirt out. From here, we move across to the soft terrain tyre. Now, the knobs are a little bit closer. There's a lot more rubber there on the ground to be able to bite into anything that may be a little bit harder underneath compared to the scoop tyre. There's more on the sidewall here, but still plenty of room for that dirt to escape this tyre. So as you can see, there's a big difference between these two tyres. Now, Todd, can you explain to us a little bit though how important, or the importance of getting the right tyre on a track like this?
Yeah, it's a great question, Danny. So earlier we had practice qualifying and the track was, you know, it was quite soft, so we chose with the soft terrain tyre. As you explained with the paddle scoops, but it doesn't work very well when the track's got a base to it. So that's what we're seeing today, and it's really important to have tyres on hand that we can change to. And that's the beauty with Max's tyres, is we start off with a soft terrain tyre when we need to scoop into that dirt, but we still need grip on hard pack up ramps and so on. Now we're going to change to an intermediate rear tyre, so that the difference with that is the knob is a little bit firmer, so it doesn't roll as much on the harder pack. Knobs come closer together, more surface area, works really well on corners that look like concrete, you know. Getting the rubber on the ground is really important. I opt to go with a hard pack front. I need lots of feel when the berms get really hard pack and entering into turns. So I like to have a nice wide tyre on with plenty of surface area, so that makes me feel comfortable.
I wanted to speak to you a little bit about your connection with Maxxis, the relationship that you've built with them. You're actually now developing the tyres for the Australian conditions with them.
Yeah, so it's really exciting. So Maxxis in the motorcycle industry, it's a name, but it's not a massive name, and that's where I follow the downhill mountain biking a lot, and it's the leading tyre in mountain biking. So the guys have gone, okay, we want to come over and we want to take on the motorbike industry, and that's what they've done. We've organised a test together a couple of years ago, and the thing that really stood out to me is I tested the tyres, I gave my feedback, and they said, no dramas, we'll go back and we'll make you one and send it over and we want you to test it. And I just went, wow. I've raced professionally for over 16 years now, and I've never developed a tyre. I've ridden with factory tyres and different compounds and all this, but never has my feedback gone into a tyre. And that's what we're doing with Maxxis, is we're creating a tyre for the Australian conditions. So it's really exciting.
Let's have a look at the lineup here for the Thor MX1. Luke Clout, Todd Waters, Kirk Gibbs, Regan Duffy, all big names. Aaron Tanti, Hayden Melross, Brett Metcalf, Matt Moss, Max Purvis, and Jai Walker there. And that's our first 10, Hammy.
Melross was so fast. Looking forward to see how he goes in this one. Tierney, Rikers, Lamb, who had a really good first race. Baldwin and the rest of the guys all out there making up an entire gate going through that first turn, and we saw how hard it is just to get those 40 riders through that first turn. Let's go down Rihanna at the start line.
Yeah, this really is the best part of the day, isn't it, boys? I just had a quick chat to Craig Dack, team owner of the CDR Yamaha team. He said the first few laps of this race are going to be critical. They've just put a bit more water down on the track. It's going to be really slippery to open this moto, but then the track's going to evolve, get a lot more dusty. As you can see, plenty of dust in the air. Vision is going to be really, really critical.
We are set to do the first of our two back-to-back races for the Thor MX1 class. Gags are about to go down. Who will jump out first? The all-important hole shot as we get underway. Clout with a good one, and Duffy is also right there. Who will actually get the hole shot? Oh, big crash here.
Oh, we have had a yard sale pile up here. There's just riders gone down left, right and centre, trying to make out and see if any of our big guns have gone down.
Possibly Tanti may
Great
have been.
to see Rikers up there in the top 3 as well. Another one who's been
bad
terrible starts.
Yeah, Rikers is a really quick rider, especially in these sprint races. I think this will suit him down. Water sits there in 4th place as well. Bossy back there in 6th. As we take a look at the replay, have a look towards the middle to back end of this field, and I think it's around about right of screen. Oh, right in the middle there. One rider going down and everyone else just unable to avoid him.
And Melross, I don't know how he managed to stay on that cusp of the powdery berm on top. He must have ridden that fine line right the way across, because he wouldn't have been able to see where he was going, and he somehow managed to stay on the track. Regan Duffy peeled out a scrub that was almost too big there.
Yes.
Only just managed to bring it back. But he's just doing everything he can.
Look at this.
Because Luke Cloud is going to be trying to check out as we speak, I tell you.
And as for the 100% hole shot award, it does go to Luke Cloud. The all-important hole shot in this race means absolutely everything. Duffy is right there. Now, we said it after the first race, or you said it, I should say, Lee, that Duffy didn't look happy. He was on a charge at the end of that race. He was starting to move forward. Moss up the inside, a little bit squirrely going into those ruts. He has got a bit of pace going as well at the moment. Gibbs and Metcalf in behind them. So we are set for a pretty ripped snorter race right here with all of our big hitters up the front. Melross was very impressive in Moto 1. Let's see if he can continue that speed and get up there in this one.
Well, this is the first chance that we've had to really see Mossy at all. Of course, a massive crash, and we thought he actually hurt himself in Moto 1. But he's out here, he's had a pretty good start. He's got some very creative lines here. Oh, and finds himself in a super deep rut, and looks like Rikers has managed to round him up around the outside. So, as you can see, not just Mossy, but a lot of these riders here, they're trying to find some magical lines. It just almost looked like Mossy was off the track there. I don't know where he's where he's going, but he knows his way around this track here. He's ridden exceptionally well here recently, but I think everyone's just trying to find themselves a bit of gold out there on the track.
And Metcalf unable to make that pass stick. Rikus controlling the inside. Around the outside, oh, Metcalf. Big back wheel loose going into that berm.
Yeah, and he had to have some evasive action to not get Rikus to run into his front wheel there. That was super close, but he's managed to round him up straight away and get back into that position. What a to and fro little battle we're seeing here from the Kawasaki and Honda riders, as no one wants to give an inch, that's for sure.
Well, as they go into the bell turn right here, it is back and forward, but look at the lead here. Clout now has some company in Regan Duffy. Now, Regan was so dominant down there at Wonthaggi, round one. I know that going into this one, there is a little bit of skepticism about how Regan Duffy would go in the harder conditions rather than the nice soft sand that he's used to. And right now, he is answering the call. Right on the back wheel, the Clout. Can he do it? 8 minutes left in this one. Sprint all the way to the end.
Well, you can't do any better than keep pressure on the back of Luke Clout. If Luke Clout's in fine form and his day is meant to be with victories in race 1 and the back-to-back 2 and 3, then hey, it's going to fall into that place. However, all you can do is to keep pressure on him and try to force a mistake. And hey, if you're good enough, make the pass. But that's yet to be seen. As we can see Todd Waters, little look over his shoulder. He knows he's got company there with Hayden Melross.
Oh, Melross is looking good around the outside. Oh! The two riders come together. Waters was planning on blocking that line, but had no idea on the momentum that Melross had around the outside. That was a brave move.
Wow, that could have ended up so much worse than what it did.
How's the lap time, sir? If we go back for a look at this, keep an eye on Melross. The 45 machine sets him up, switches to the outside, grabs a tear off, gets a clean vision, stays so much lower over this. Waters thought he was going to the outside, had no idea that he was right there. That was a good move, but wow. And look at how Regan Duffy is starting to come on. This line didn't work last time, very deep, but it is still right there, and I tell you, he worked that time.
He came one run out further, Hammy. That far inside one was a little deep. He took one, and he's got a good inside one here as well.
This is the difference. Right now, Clout has to race his own race. He knows the lines that are working for him at the moment, but it doesn't really give him any chance to explore the rest of the track as we see the front wheel dancing all over the place, trying to do some kind of fancy ballerina dance all over the place.
Mistake from Clout and a big head tilt there, and he's looked. He's rattled. He's in his head. He's had a look to the left. He's had a look to the right.
Why did Duffy though not take a little advantage of it? We must not have caught on camera.
He went around the outside of that right-hander, which earlier in the day was good. It was like a flat speedway turn. We spoke about it in earlier races. However, in that one, he almost had to just keep hopping up onto tabletops. It was that rough around the outside. I think Duffy needs to change up that line there. And even if he is prepared to take a little bit of roost, hop in behind Clout in that inside run and just at least stick with him and try to make a move in the next section.
3.5 minutes left in this. We have got 3 to 4 laps in this one before we see a checkered flag. So it is a lot of time still left on the track, but really compared to those big long motos, it's almost done. Wow.
Yeah, and it's a super fast one. And as we mentioned, how important the big mistake from Regan Duffy, and he's dropped right off the back of Luke Clout. So not quite sure what happened there, but it seemed to be in that right-hander, his nemesis corner, shall we say. But a little bit of a look over the right-hand shoulder from Luke Clout, and he would know well and truly that he's got himself a good 4 or 5 second gap now over Regan Duffy. We can't emphasise enough the importance of the start in these shorter races. And sure enough, first and second out of the gate, they happen to be the ones that were battling. It's just too hard to make your way through the field. Hayden Melross back there in 3rd place, made the pass on Todd Waters. Todd continues to hold down 4th place, and a much better ride from Brett Metcalf this time. However, he's still 15 seconds off the pace, whereas, just as I say that, Kirk Gibbs back in 6th place. He's a further 2 seconds behind Brett Metcalf.
Sometimes when you, as a rider, there's just tracks that don't gel with you. No matter what you do, you just need to get through the day, and maybe this is one of those days for the Honda riders. They don't seem to be their normal selves. you know, we know that Metcalf and Gibbs can both be strong on a difficult track. We saw it down in Wonthaggi with Metcalf, just how fast he was at the end of the races. So for him to be back that far, it's uncharacteristic, and I don't think it's something that we'll usually see out of him.
You know what could be dangerous for the rest of the competitors here is I did not think this was a Regan Duffy track. I thought out of everyone, you know, if you pick someone that's just, okay, Wonthaggi, Manjimup, any of the deep sandy stuff, you get to this rock hard type of stuff. I did not pick Duffy to have this kind of form, to come from nowhere in the first one up to third, and to be pressuring Cloud to quite have possibly made that pass, and to be sitting solidly in second place. That's super impressive for the Western Australian.
39 lap times now is what we're seeing. 138 last time around for Melrose. So last lap board, he takes a quick glance back to see how far back the other riders are. I just caught a glimpse of Duffy. Went over that finish line. He is just in the top of screen just there.
Under 2 seconds, the gap between Duffy and Melrose.
Yep.
So would be fantastic. We can just grab a
we'll have a look
little
at
glimpse of
the
that.
background there. You can see Duffy just hit over that tabletop,
and
Melrose right behind him.
So right as Duffy was landing off the tabletop, Melrose was taking off. So about to receive
the blue flags being shown. For anyone that doesn't know, the blue flags are for the slower riders, just to let them know that the fast riders, the lead riders, which is what we've got on screen right now, with Duffy in second, they are coming through to put a lap down on the riders, so don't get in their road. So they do their best to try and stay out of it, but it is definitely closed up between these two. Is it too late, though, for Melrose? We're only half lap left.
Well, now I'm wondering if Duffy knows that Melrose is that close. He doesn't look to have huge amounts of intensity going on. However, when a track's this slippery, you can't really have too much intensity, can you? Or you end up going down. Last thing you want to do is throw it down on the last lap. So trust me, I guarantee you Duffy's given it everything he can, and that was a beautiful left-handed corner as he tips it into the auto light right-hander and makes his way towards the checkered flag. But Luke Clout continues to hold down, just over 3 second lead now, not too far apart. They're all realising what's going on here. It's such a short sprint race. They've still got to do it all again. It doesn't matter if you win by 10 seconds or you win by 2 seconds. A win's a win. And from the looks of things here, there we go. Luke Clout coming through. CDR, Yamaha, Monster Energy Racing rider, taking that victory there. And of course, Regan Duffy, incredible ride there in second place. Hayden Melrose back there in third. Some 15 seconds back to Todd Waters, a long way back, and then Metcalf and Kirk Gibbs.
There they are, the confirmation. Waters in behind there, Metcalf, Purvis, Gibbs, Rikers, Lamb and Whiteman are your top 10. Only 15 seconds till we get underway. 5 second board goes up. We are set for the last race of the day. The Thor MX1 is about to get underway. Part 2. Who will get this whole shot?
Luke Clout started right next to that. It's not going to be Luke Clout. I believe that's Regan Duffy up the inside, but it looked to be another KTM. Or is it a Honda? It's Kirk Gibbs. Kirk Gibbs from Luke Clout and Regan Duffy once again getting another sensational start. Clout all over the track trying to make a pass in these early stages.
Well, I had Clout going into that first turn in third.
Yes, he looked a long way back to me coming across. And now
sit in second, so I'm not sure who else was up there. There is Duffy in fourth. I thought Duffy had that. I don't know what has gone on around there. Nice line by Gibbsy around the outside. Can Gibbsy run this pace? Let's see. Tanti, yes.
Tanti has somehow made a pass on Regan Duffy, and if Duffy's not careful, I believe Melrose may have just made a pass up the inside of him. As we have another look over here, we'll be able to... yes, he has. So Duffy has gone from battling for the whole shot to back to, what, fifth, I believe now?
Place, that the intensity isn't there off that start. It was almost like
just got caught unawares.
Something we didn't see has happened. There's no way you can be in that position and then drop that far back just straight off the bat like that. So interesting to see what happens out of it. But at the moment, Kirk Gibbs does lead this one on the Honda. Bike number 5 in front of Luke Clout on the Yamaha. 9, Tanti, after such a bad start and a bad second moto, he sits there in third with Melrose right behind him. There is Waters around the outside. Metcalf.
Metcalf just didn't get the start that he needed to try to get dragged along with... off the side of the track was Melrose, and that's opened it up for Duffy to possibly try to, yes, he has. So Duffy has been able to sneak back through there, and now he needs to rebound and try to get past Tanti, because whatever happened in that first half of the lap's just taken him by surprise.
That was a big moment there by Melrose going into that turn. It could have ended very badly for him. It's going to take him a second to regroup, but it's still Gibbs that holds that lead, as we see at the bottom of screen there. The Honda rider has managed to hold off the attack from Clout. Clout looking over his shoulder just to see who's back there. Oh, Clout with a loss of a front wheel going into that turn, but he has managed to hold himself up. A big move up the inside here. He's putting the pressure on. He's very fast over these tabletops. Watch for the inside line coming down here, and the scrubs from Clout. See if he can keep it low and get up there. No, he has dropped back, made me look like a fool, but he has been so fast going down that straight.
Well, what Kurt Gibbs needs to be careful of is that section that we just went through that starts with the right-hander that we spoke about with Regan Duffy in the last race, that outside line. You lose a lot of time there. Now, Gibbsy somehow managed to not get past there that lap, but if he does it again, it's going to leave himself open for Clout. But yeah, Regan Duffy, that first half of the lap could have cost him any chance that he had of potentially trying to get up there in the mix and ruining a good overall finish. He still has enough time to, he's in third place here, let's be honest. And he's only 5 seconds back, but we've only got 7 minutes to go in this race.
Maybe we're mistaken at where we thought Duffy was going through that first turn. I don't know, it just seems so strange that he went that far back so quick. We know how fast he is. He's throwing down some quick lap times, 36, 37s, 36 that time around for Clout, 37 was for Gibbs. So Clout is not given up by any means.
Yeah, well, if we did have a replay, because they haven't announced the whole shot winner for this one, if they did have whole shot footage, it would be great, because I'm almost certain that we saw him up there. I thought so too. Regan Duffy right next to, and we couldn't tell if it was a Honda or a KTM. It ended up it was a Honda. Here's his line. Gibbsy, he's trying to find a bit of middle ground. He didn't go quite as wide in the first part there, but he did in the second part. So he needs to be careful, because there's a couple of parts of the track where he's got some outsides. But Luke Clout, if he gets a bee in his bonnet, he might want to throw it up the inside.
Yes, very much will do that. As we see him right on the back wheel here. He's just taking his time, isn't he? Playing the game at the moment, just working the back of Gibbs, making him feel all of that Yamaha pressure being applied to him on his back wheel at the moment, around the outside, never sitting in the same line as Gibbs. You see that every time he's in a different line, looking for a square up here maybe, up to the inside. Is this a better line right here for Clout?
Oh, Gibbs. The door is being left open all over the place here, and just Gibbsy just needs to be a little bit careful. And just once again, just explaining a little bit further about the points, the fact that part 1 and part 2 of this race, that both score points and they get accumulated for the overall of this second moto. So in other words, if Luke Clout finishes in second place here, and he still gets maximum points for the back-to-back moto situation.
Correct, yeah, so he doesn't need to win this.
It won't make 1 point difference to his overall points chase.
That's correct.
However, pride, we know there's a lot of pride with Luke Clout.
Here's the inside-outside lines here, Lee, that you've spoken of so many laps. Let's see, he's a lot closer this time.
Yeah, it's a game, man, going out that wide when you know that there's someone right there.
I don't really like this line here. It seems they slow down a bit off that jump up the inside.
It's funny, they both, it seems to equal itself out by the time they get to here, though, and they scrub in different directions off that first of the big tabletops.
Is he going to ride around the outside of him right here?
Yeah,
he's looking, isn't he?
That inside line that Gibbsy takes there's got a big hole coming out of it, and then Clout, he jumps back across this one, puts himself in a good position right there. So I think the ability for Clout, aside from the fact that he's copping a bit of roost.
Oh, Gibbs.
Little mistake from Gibbs.
So he's had to go to the inside this time. They both push rather wide, squared it up though. Who's going to get the better drive going down here? Who's bravest under brakes? Oh, from the outside, Luke Clout, give yourself a clap, mate. That was a brilliant move set that one up nice and early from the turn before, and Gibbs just had no answer for him going into that run.
Yeah, now it'll be really interesting to see, does Gibbsy stick with his original lines? Does he try to keep away from the roost? Does he try to pick up something, you know, try to do something a little bit different that he hasn't been doing and try to pick up on some of Luke Clout's lines? I think, you know, you've got nothing to lose, really, do you? When you're in Gibbsy's position, you've got nothing to lose. You've got to let it all hang out and give it a go.
So it'd make no difference for Clout to have finished in second place for his overall today, but I would say with Gibbs, for sure, he really needs to get that first place to get the best points out of this. And look at this, almost around the outside, tries to square it back up though. Answered by Clout. He knew exactly where he was going as they go down the back, over the tabletops again. Who can maintain this? Or Gibbs. He's not giving this one up just yet.
No, he's not, and if he can just pick up one or two little lines, and then so long as he's still got a little bit of energy left to be able to throw it down in the latter stages of the race. We're only 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go. Big mistake from Clout off the side of the track, and he needs to try to find his way back on again. There's no easy entry back on. We're able to look at how close Hayden Melross is. He was 7 seconds back. Let's see how this plays out.
Wales looking at the timing monitor, Lee, there. This is the whole thing with motocross. Mistakes can happen. You put that pressure on the riders in front of you, and these things are easily made. Oh, up the inside. That was Gibbs.
They touched.
That was Gibbs punting him off the track. Now, that was not intentional, but the two lines definitely came together at the end of that rut, and Gibbs was just throwing it in there.
Yeah, so there we can see on camera now, Kirk Gibbs coming in the number 5 in the factory Honda racing machine. He comes up and over the Penrite finish area into the Max's turn. We'll try to, in the background, see if we can pick up.
Just how far back? 4.48 according to our
Oh, so drop back a second.
Yep. Melross only 1.5 behind Clout. You know that Melross would love to get up there and be the next CDR Yamaha to be going across the line, so he will be pushing it very hard.
Yeah, so there we can see Luke Clout, Hayden Melross.
Right behind him.
And there we see Regan Duffy. So they're all very close, close enough for if something goes wrong to capitalise on it. But certainly Luke Clout and Melross are very much in a battle. Now what's happened here, and we'll try to pick up who's gone down, and who was that just jumped under the red cross flag?
I missed it, honestly. There's Todd Waters going over as well. But we are on our final lap, so this one is almost closed out for our race leader, who is on screen, the Honda rider of Kirk Gibbs, bike number 5. What a second part 2 moto that he has had to be up there in this position and exactly where we expect him to be.
Yeah, he's done an exceptional job. There we saw Luke Clout coming in to screen very quickly, and whether that's because he's trying to track down Gibbsy or whether it's because he's trying to hold off a hard-charging Melross, or a combination of both of them, I'm sure. But we'll see both of them coming in right
just
now.
In the background, Gibbs mistake
and a near crash. They're just trying to keep it oh so exciting for us here as it winds its way down and into the final corner. Checkered flag out, and what a win. Kirk Gibbs must be over the moon, and Luke Clout. Let's keep our eyes, let's keep the camera on these three as they come down. Is there any fireworks? Anything to say?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. There we go.
Yep, there we go.
Oh, there's a little shake of the head.
Yeah, no, Rubbin's racing. So Kirk Gibbs with a sensational victory there in part 2 of this second round of racing for the MX1, the Thor MX1 category. Let's take a look at the Thor MX1 results here for Moto 2. Kirk Gibbs taking the win from Luke Clout, Hayden Melross, Duffy in 4th, Waters in 5th, back to Max Purvis in 6th. We see Brett Metcalf, Jaden Rogers, Aaron Tanti, and Jay Lamb. Jay Lamb.
Jay Lamb's had a good day today, hasn't he? Yeah, that is a fantastic day for Jay Lamb.
Yeah, time for the podium for the Thor MX1 back-to-back Moto 2, taking up 3rd place, Regan Duffy. Regan, you're a little bit disappointed even though you're back on the podium again.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It always sucks when you feel like you can win, but you don't quite get there. But I can't be mad about it. I've still got the red plate. I'm on the podium. It's my rookie year, so yeah, I've got to take the positives away, and yeah, I'm already looking forward to round 3.
Yeah, fantastic riding there by Regan Duffy, taking out 2nd place. on the Yamaha is Hayden Melrose. Hayden, we had a chat to you in between the motos. You were feeling really good and the bike was really strong.
Yeah, nah, for sure. Man, I didn't know what to expect today. I had a great weekend last weekend at the South Australian State Titles and I was feeling good. Bike's been unbelievable today and I just was believing in myself. I knew I can do it. It's been a long, long time between drinks, especially with COVID, and to finally be back up here after a knee reconstruction, a shoulder reconstruction, and to be second, look, I'm ecstatic. It's onwards and upwards from here and the whole team's behind me. I've got a great support group and I believe in myself, so bring it on.
Yeah, fantastic. Enjoy the celebrations for this one and taking out the victory for the back-to-back moto. Once again, Luke Clout. Luke, fantastic way to come back after a really tough one, Thaggy.
Yeah, it was definitely well needed because I couldn't afford many more of those one Thaggy rounds, so we had to come out and make some points. So near a perfect day. Well, it actually was. Yeah, we went fastest in Super Bowl and won motor scores. So just a massive hats off to the whole team. Obviously we left round one a little bit upset, but we all went home and we all worked and we didn't let it bring us down. We all come back stronger and it's a big team effort. My brother, everyone that's involved, girlfriend, mum, everyone that's involved, I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to racing again because I want to get this red plate back and make this championship hard for the boys.
Yeah, we absolutely can't wait. Congratulations to our Thor MX1 place getters, Regan Duffy, Hayden Melrose and Luke Clout.
What a day we had here in Canberra as we take a quick look at the championship points. Regan Duffy on 85. He still maintains the lead over Todd Waters. Hayden Melrose has moved himself up. Luke Clout has minimised the damage. He's back there on 72. Kirk Gibbs, Brett Metcalf, Jaden Rikers, Joe Walker, Maximus Purvis and Jay Lamb rounds out the top 10.